what happened in the Middle East in the immediate aftermath of the Second World War was comparable to the gigantic movements of population and frontiers in Eastern Europe at the end of the Second World War. I mean, what again we've forgotten, why has there been an astonishing degree of stability in the frontiers of Europe? It was that in the wake of the collapse of Nazi Germany, the relentless advance, permitted, of course, by the decision of the Western Allies, of Stalin right across the great Northern European plain, you drive out the scattered German populations that had reached far into Poland, into what is now Lithuania, into what is now the Ukraine, and millions, literally, we don't know the numbers, 3, 4, 5 million Germans driven out in the most unspeakable conditions of torment, women raped and so on, and frontiers moving 400 in places 400 miles to the west. It happened. It worked because it was accepted. In other words, a war can only end with a victory, but also the acceptance of defeat by those defeated. And there has been this absolute refusal of the Arab world to accept that defeat. And the problem is very simple. We have connived at that through the terrible machinery of the United Nations, the terrible machinery of the United Nations Refugee Organization, which is now clear, is penetrated from top to bottom by what amounts to Arab nationalism. And until that problem is fundamentally addressed, in other words, all paid for by us, all paid for by the West, this absurdity of the situation